There's that. Yeah, so I'd love to pass it actually to some of our other leaders on this event, some of our amazing community partners, to introduce themselves and their organizations really quickly before we get into it. So Story, you're the first person I see. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm never first. I have one of those like late in the alphabet last name. So okay, cool. Hi everyone. My name is Story Van Ness. I use she/they pronouns, and I am the assistant director of the Knox Pride Community and Resource Center here in Knoxville, Tennessee. For my song, I think "Rise Up" by Andra Day is a song that I've just been jamming to a lot lately and crying in my car privately and also in public. Excuse me. And I'm here today to, of course, talk about what Knox Pride has to offer, give my perspective as a trans person, and also because I am about to be a foster mother to a trans child. So this is just kind of a lot for me. So I'm here.
Thank you so much, Story, for sharing that. I'd like to pass to Joseph. Will you introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Joseph Clark. I use he, him, his pronouns. I am the program manager for Just Us at Oasis Center here in Nashville. A song that I'm loving, I can't pick just one, so I'm going to say Miley's entire new Endless Summer album, because we're not talking about that enough as a collective society, I believe. And what brings me here is to share more information about how to get young people connected to all of the identity affirming and gender affirming groups that we have here at Oasis Center.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Joseph. John?
I am John Baker. I'm the co-founder and current president of the Pride Community Center of Northeast Tennessee, Tri-Cities. I see that I have a number. I'm going to have to stop this. I'm sorry, my video is not good. Don't have a song. I just have a songstress, Nina Simone. Anything by her is always wonderful. And I'm excited that we do have a number of our board members on tonight on this from the Pride Center. And we're looking to see what we can do to find resources and have that, and so that we can help our community.
Awesome. Thank you so much, John. Can I pass it to Will next?
Hey everyone, my name is Will French. I use he, him pronouns, and I'm located in Nashville, Tennessee. And I'm part of the GLSEN Tennessee chapter of the National GLSEN organization. I'm currently the co-chair of our chapter, and we'll dive more into what our organization and chapter is later. But a song that I'm loving lately is Both Sides Now, Joni Mitchell. So just a little sort of timely in my life, just kind of going through a variety of transitions, but life transitions, but I'm here in part to share resources and information, ways how GLSEN Tennessee can support students, families, and particularly educators, but then also just to listen and learn and figure out how we can collectively advocate for our young people and their families better.
Awesome. Thank you, Will. Phil?
Hi, everybody. My name is Phil Capucci. Pronouns. I'm the executive director of Inclusion Tennessee. I'm glad to be with each of you today. I am based in Nashville, Tennessee. And let's see, I think I shared in the chat here the song that I am loving lately. I am one of those deep dive diva kind of gals. And I will tell you that right now I'm in a Patti LuPone phase. So my song right now is from a musical called The Baker's Wife. And it's a song written by Stephen Schwartz called Little Lark, which Patty LaPone does beautifully. As for why I am here tonight, to tell you a little bit about the work that we're doing at Inclusion Tennessee and how we are here to support our community. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Phil. And Anu.
Hey everyone, my name is Anu. I use she, her, or they, them pronouns. I am just got promoted today. I'm the new Director of Family and Community Initiatives at OUTMemphis. In addition to volunteer programming, I also supervise my lovely youth group for 12 to 17-year-olds called PRISM. We are based in Memphis, Tennessee. A song that I'm loving lately, anything off of Amy Winehouse's Back to Black, but I know that whole album is a banger. I've been loving Just Friends or Some Unholy War off that album recently. What brings me to this town hall is to listen and learn, to share some resources about PRISM and about OUTMemphis, and just to share my contact information for whoever's based in our area and who's looking to connect to someone from our organization. I'd love to be that face for you. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much, Anu, and congrats. That's awesome. Yeah. Okay. Moving right into it. We're going to start by just talking a little bit about this law, SB1, HB1. Before I get into that, though, I do want to recognize that I'm not a lawyer. This town hall isn't legal or medical counsel. We're just sharing information that we have and resources that exist. And I also want to recognize that I know this legislative session in Tennessee has been challenging for a number of reasons. There have been a lot of anti-LGBTQ bills. There have been a lot of other bad bills and a lot of inaction on things. But for this event, we really want to focus it on this bill and on what we can do to support trans youth who are losing access to their healthcare in Tennessee. So with that, SB1, HB1, what does it do? Okay, so SB1, HB1 prohibits minors under the age of 18 from accessing gender-affirming care, and that includes hormone replacement therapy, or HRT, and puberty blockers in the state of Tennessee. And that is for both in-person care and telehealth. Next slide. So what does it not do? SB1, HB1 does not prevent minors under the age of 18 from accessing mental health care in the state of Tennessee. So people can still go to therapy and all of that. And SB1, HB1 does not penalize those who leave the state of Tennessee or help someone leave the state of Tennessee to access gender-affirming care. So that means you can still get that care in other states where it remains legal. So when does this law take effect? So many providers in Tennessee are stopping gender-affirming care for minors as of July 1st of this year. Some other providers are going to stop accepting new clients or new patients on July 1st, but they're going to continue care until March 31st of next year for their existing patients. Okay. So SB1, HB1 is being challenged in the courts. So it's being challenged by parents, youth, and legal organizations. That's the ACLU, Lambda Legal, ACLU of Tennessee, who's also a partner of ours, and private counsel. They filed a lawsuit on behalf of many courageous families and young people in Tennessee who are stating that SB1, HB1 unlawfully discriminates against trans people on the basis of sex. And that was filed on April 20th. And then it's also being challenged by the U.S. Department of Justice. So on the 26th, the Department of Justice put out an announcement that it's challenging SB1, HB1 in Tennessee. They also asked the courts to issue an immediate order preventing SB1, HB1 from going into effect on July 1st. However, this order hasn't been issued at this point. Okay, so how can we prepare for SB1, HB1 in Tennessee? there's a couple immediate steps that we're recommending families of trans youth to take. So firstly, see your current provider as soon as you can to discuss your current needs and options for continuing your care. Update your therapy letters to be current, just to sort of ease the burden of onboarding with a new doctor out of state. Fill your current prescriptions, your gender affirming care prescriptions. And then lastly, consider reaching out for a one-on-one patient navigation support to help you identify care out of state. And we'll talk more about how you can do that with our program. Okay, we also have a pretty amazing resource available, the Tennessee Resource Guide. This is a public Google document that explains SB1, HB1, and the resources that are available in Tennessee. This guide has been continually updated as we've found out about new resources, and there are a lot of really great people providing resources in the state. We've got, mental health resources, support groups for parents, support groups for youth, other community orgs. Yeah, and we're going to be hearing from some of those people who are providing those resources later in this event. So I'm really excited about that. And you can access the guide. I'm sure Adam can put the link in the chat. Okay, so what is the Southern Trans Youth Emergency Project, which we are going to be talking about today? So this is a project of the Campaign for Southern Equality that we've launched across the South. So not just in Tennessee, we're doing this in all states in the South where gender affirming care is being banned. And this is really important because 75% of trans youth in the South live in states with an anti-trans healthcare ban, which is really shocking to read, but that is reality. Okay, so the Southern Trans Youth Emergency Project in Tennessee, here's how we're responding in Tennessee. So you can access information and support, so clear, accessible information and updates about the status and content of gender affirming care bans, how to access care before bans go into effect. That's kind of like what we're doing right now. We're just trying to provide really clear information about what's going on with these bans. Secondly, parents and families of trans youth can access patient navigation. So that means that they can access referrals to gender affirming care providers in states without bans, and they can get information about mental health resources and community groups. And thirdly, we have emergency assistance grants. So these are $250 grants to assist families of trans youth with anything that they might need during this really challenging time. So that could be gas for travel, a hotel room, money for prescriptions, even just like a nice dinner for your family, like anything that will support these families during this really tough time. That's what those grants are there for. Yeah, and in Tennessee, our partners on this project are Inclusion Tennessee and OUTMemphis, who are here today. So how can families of trans youth access these resources that I've just told you about? So parents, guardians, and caregivers of trans youth can access the grants, can access referrals to gender affirming care out of state, and can access information about mental health resources and community groups by filling out an amazing form on our website. And I think Adam has put that in the chat for us. And then y'all are probably wondering what happens after I fill out that form. What happens after I reach out? So after you fill out the form, you will receive an email from a member of our staff asking to set up a time to talk on the phone with you. During this phone call, our staff is going to work with you to determine what resources your family is interested in and how we can connect you. So if you're interested in one of the grants, we'll actually fill out that application on the phone with you. We don't have the grant application public online because we've dealt with a lot of spam in the past, and we want to make sure that these grants are really getting to the folks that need them. If your child needs to be referred to out-of-state gender-affirming care, we'll work with you to determine the best option for you and then recommend you to a provider that we know and trust. And then if you're interested in other resources in Tennessee, like support groups, community groups, all those other things that I've talked about, we can also recommend those to you during that call.
I'm going to quickly jump in to say that I will be the person that you'll be talking to. So if you want to put a face to an email, it'll be me. And these conversations are really short and really casual. I just want to hear a little bit about your family and what your family needs, and hopefully get you what your family needs. So excited to talk to y'all that might need some help.
Right. I'm so sorry. I think I was supposed to let Carolyn say that part, but I just got really into my role. So, but that's Carolyn. That's who you'll be talking to. And then finally, how can allies help? So anyone can share information about these resources. We actually have a really amazing social media toolkit that we've come up with that has graphics and email templates and basically things that you can just copy and paste onto your own social media or email. So we really encourage anyone to do that. And then you can also just read through the resource guide and share the resources with other folks. I've definitely found doing this work that parents, family members, organization leaders in the trans community, like those are the folks who really know what's needed and know how to get this information in the right hands. So yeah, I just really want to thank everyone who's already shared the resources and encourage folks to keep doing that, because we've definitely seen a lot more engagement from Tennessee since we've started working together to share this stuff. Awesome. Yeah, so at this point, I think we're just going to pass it to some of our partner organizations to tell you a little bit about the resources that they have to offer in different parts of the state. So yeah, I'd love to pass it to Anu at OUTMemphis.
Awesome. So the first thing that I will mention is my youth group. It's called PRISM. It's for 12 to 17-year-olds. You can identify as LGBTQ. You can identify as an ally. It's open to anyone within that age range and who is able to be dropped off or who can bring themselves to our community center. We meet on Saturdays from 1 to 3. And that program is actually going to be rapidly expanding into its own program and service area for youth and families under the age of 18. We are expanding our referral process and how we connect people to healthcare providers and businesses to help with social transition. That's our flyer. We communicate with people through the Remind app, which a lot of teachers use to communicate with their students. So the best way to get a hold of us and stay in touch with us is just by texting that at to 81010, and then you'll be a part of our group chat. We also do outings a lot of times, so it's really good to be a part of this group chat if you are interested in any of the outings and field trips that we take, so you can be aware of where those take place. But like I was mentioning, PRISM is going to be quickly expanding into a referral program. We're looking to bring on a case manager in the next couple of months to formally kind of help minors navigate healthcare, whether that has to be in-state or out of state when this ban goes into effect. And I think that's most of the updates that I have right now. We also have a housing project for anyone aged 18 to 24 called the Metamorphosis Project. And we have a trans services department to help with things like name change, referrals to businesses that can assist with social transition. Yeah. Thank y'all.
Thanks so much, Anu. Next, I'd love to pass it to Will at GLSEN.
Hello again, everyone. My name is Will French. I'm the co-chair of GLSEN Tennessee, and as I mentioned earlier, we are a national organization, but there are local chapters across the country. And so GLSEN Tennessee is just one of the many locally, I guess, located chapters, and we're a statewide chapter. Next slide, please. So the focus of our work really is helping to shape educational spaces, so schools and school districts, to make sure that schools are a safe and affirming place for students, regardless of their sexual orientation, gender identity, or gender expression. And so there are a lot of things that we do with students, families, and schools and districts, of course, to help create those safer and more affirming environments. Next slide, please. So the four main kind of pillars or supports that we use to create inclusive schools are by helping to create or build supportive educators, particularly through professional development that we have created. We also help schools sort of start or become aware of opportunities to create student-led clubs, typically known as GSAs, gay straight alliances, or gender and sexuality alliances. But even if they're not called that name, just kind of creating student-led clubs that celebrate diversity and acceptance. We also believe in using inclusive curriculum, so making sure that faculty, teachers, educators are using positive representations of LGBTQ people in history and events in school curriculum. Of course, we're aware that sometimes, particularly in Tennessee, this can be and is trickier, but we really push and advocate for that component as much as possible in schools. And then the last key support that we believe in is making sure that the policies are comprehensive and enumerated. So working with administrators at the school and district level to make sure that their anti-bullying, anti-harassment policies are enumerated, meaning that they protect students also on the basis of sexual orientation and gender identity. So how can GLSEN Tennessee help and support youth, families, and educators and allies across the state? There are a few things that we really are able to provide across the state, which is professional development in schools or in districts, or even we've done community-based trainings and professional development. So even at, for example, like local libraries, just to help folks within the community feel equipped with resources and information to advocate for youth, particularly in schools. We, not this year, but in the past, and we are planning in this fall to have what we call a SHINE team, which is basically a student leadership group. And so they facilitate, they kind of come together, they have leadership development kind of training led by our student engagement coordinators who are on our board. And then they lead a project usually in the kind of spring semester to connect with more LGBTQ youth across the state and just sort of tap into that leadership that they have been working on and developing. All of our work that we do is really grounded in research, because we know that research is really, really critical sometimes in talking to administrators and district leaders. And so we have at the national level, our organization has conducted research. And so at the state level, we can also use that research and go into schools or into district offices and advocate on behalf of the young people you work with or support, or in conjunction with you if you're an educator, and help to advocate for change and inclusive policies. Which brings me to that last piece. We have templates of model policies that our national organization has used. And so, even though, yes, this recent legislation is really kind of rooted in kind of medical care, we also understand that has an impact on how students are doing or feeling in school as well, or how they are treated in schools. And so we're really here to be a resource in advocating for youth in schools and making sure that our educators and administrators know how to be as effective and affirming when working with youth. So I included a link to the national website in case you want to check out any of those resources that I just mentioned, but you can also contact our chapter directly to help you kind of problem solve any issues you're going through locally within your community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Will. I'd love to pass it to Inclusion Tennessee.
Thanks, Emma. So yeah, hi, my name is Phil Cabucci. I am the Executive Director of Inclusion Tennessee, for those who have joined. I use they and he pronouns, and I'm glad to be with you today. Inclusion Tennessee is a organization that is coming up on its second birthday. So we are a very new organization to the state of Tennessee, but we are here to be of service. Our mission is to connect people to services and resources and provide folks with every opportunity that they can to thrive. And so ultimately, at the end of the day, we are here to not reinvent the wheel, but connect people into programs that already exist and amplify the programs that need amplifying throughout the state. And so I'll tell you about our 3 programs that we currently are running and how we are actively engaging in those programs, and then a few ways that you can also get involved in the organization. First off is our Embrace initiative. And so with Embrace, we are focused on getting every one of our organizations throughout the state of Tennessee to be connected and working with one another. And so that means by we believe that every single person who is working to foster and enhance and support LGBTQ lives deserves a seat at the table. Whether you are, no matter how you identify, we want to make sure that you and your organization feels like there's a place for you and you can come and be of service. And so we are trying to bring people together to build bridges across silos, to find ways to partner together, to amplify organizations, to give new organizations new opportunities for leadership, and help fund smaller organizations that need better access to funding that may not necessarily have access to immediate funding. And so that's our Embrace work. And we're starting with that work in Middle Tennessee, and we're quickly expanding that throughout the entire state. We were actively involved in a lot of the Journey to Justice work around the Tennessee 3. And we are working with many different organizations that believe in justice-oriented work for all different aspects of our community beyond those who identify as just LGBTQ. Our next piece of work is around, this is called Flourish, and that's really identified for those around health and wellness. And with that work specifically, we are focused, number one, on ensuring that every single person, every single body has care that they deserve. And that care means that every single person has equal access to care. And so that means whether it is health and wellness in terms of traditional practices or Western medicine, or it means spiritual care, or it means any kind of other medical or mental health care practice that you might need in order to live a full and thriving life. We want to make sure that you're connected into those practices and services. And so our first step in this and everything that we do is grounded in research. And so we're happy to announce this year this summer we are launching a statewide healthcare survey with the Vanderbilt University Policy Lab and with Vanderbilt University Medical Center. So we will be launching this statewide this summer. And so you'll be seeing us at all of the Pride events across the state. And so more to come on that. And so please start paying attention to our social medias if you haven't. And we'll be talking about that in the months, in the weeks ahead, actually, because Pride is right around the corner. And then finally, our last piece of work is around gathering. We want to ensure that every single person, every single body has a safe place to be. And safe place means safe and sober spaces, safe places to exist that are not necessarily associated with nightlife. And so we understand that there are those locations in Knoxville, there are those locations in Memphis, but there are not those locations in some of the rural parts or more tertiary markets in our cities, in our state. And there's also not something like that in Nashville. And so we're in Chattanooga. And so we are working to create that here in Nashville, and then are also committed to creating other safe spaces that can around our state as well in the months and years ahead. That's up for Inclusion Tennessee. Thanks, Phil.
Thanks so much, Phil. That's really exciting. Yeah, I'd love to pass it to Joseph at Just Us.
Hi again. I'm Joseph. I use he, him, his pronouns. I'm the program manager here at Just Us at Oasis Center in Nashville. We are located right outside of downtown on the corner of 17th and Charlotte, for those of you who are in the area. We are a department of positive youth development programs and mental health services that specifically focus on LGBTQ plus young people, 5th grade, 10 years old, up through seniors in high school, so about 18 years old. Can we pop to the next slide? There we go. Thank you. So our two biggest focuses of work are Just Us and Becoming Us, which are our drop-in positive youth development programs for middle schoolers, being Becoming Us, and Just Us for high schoolers. And you can see the meeting information there on the screen. There are no attendance requirements. There are no qualifiers other than be an LGBTQ plus young person in either one of those grade brackets, so high school or middle school. And we do offer those both in person here at Oasis Center and online using Discord. We transitioned our programs in response to COVID when we had to go to a virtual space, and that relieved a huge barrier to access for so many of our families and young people. And so if they cannot get to our physical building to an in-person meeting, they are more than welcome to join our online group. Both of those servers are private and are invitation only. They do require a very brief enrollment form on the young person's behalf so that we can monitor who is in that space, and we know who is in that room is supposed to be in that online room. And thankfully, we've not been trolled, we've not been hacked or harassed in either of those online spaces. And they've been serving as a really great opportunity for young people to connect and stay in contact with each other when we are not in formal meeting space. And Jeremy Hawkins is the program specialist that facilitates both Just Us and Becoming Us. And there is his information if you have a young person that is interested in joining either of those groups. They are really just youth empowerment, identity exploration, and celebration based, and very youth voice responsive. So whatever young people are experiencing in real time, socially, politically, at school, in their neighborhoods, we try to respond to that as quickly as possible and layer in team building, community building, hands-on service learning, and college and career exploration. We have here at Oasis Center a team of fantastic college mentors who work with our Just Users and our Becoming Users to make sure they are on track for those next steps post high school graduation. And so we want to make sure our young people have as much support as possible. Through both of those programs, young people also have access to Beauty Bar, which is our gender affirming initiative to get things such as cosmetics, packers, chest binders to young people who need them as quickly as they request them, essentially. And all of our services are free, including our beauty bar services and products. So if a young person comes to us and needs a chest binder or a cosmetic kit of makeup to affirm and express their identity wholly and authentically, we will get it to them as quickly as we possibly can. So reach out to Jeremy if you want to get connected to either of those groups. I oversee our Students of Stonewall group. That is a year-long internship for high school juniors and seniors who are interested in advocacy and activism work. They spend a year with me, and they come to a point in that time where they learn how to develop and then facilitate open and affirming roundtable conversations out in the community. So we work with future doctors at the Vanderbilt Medical Center. We've worked with educators at Teach for America. We worked with theater audiences at the Nashville Ballet and the Belcourt Theater. So if you are a young person who is a rising junior or senior, or you know one who is interested in LGBTQ plus advocacy, check out Students of Stonewall. That is a paid year-long internship. The application site is there. It is bit.ly/Stonewall 2023. And lastly, here in our Just Us Department of Services, we have mental health support provided by Madison Holliday, who has a master's of marriage and family therapy. She provides individual and small group therapy specifically to LGBTQ plus young people and their families. That is intake required, just like any other mental health service or therapy service. And her information is on that slide as well, mholliday@oasiscenter.org. All of our services, Just Us, Becoming Us, participation in Students of Stonewall, and Madison's therapy services are all free of charge. So if you have a young person that needs access to any of those things, whether it's mental health support or just a space to be a young person in a room with other LGBTQ plus young people, please send them our way. Free of charge. Again, there are no qualifiers other than being an LGBTQ plus young person and school age. They can be from any zip code or any type of school in the state of Tennessee. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Joseph. Those are such amazing resources. I'd love to pass it to John at Tri-Cities Pride.
Well, we're in Northeast Tennessee in Johnson City. And we have a very active PRISM youth empowerment group, as well as a trans support group that meet at our center. And I'm on here tonight to see other centers like what Joseph and them have been talking about, to see if we can utilize any of those resources for the Pride Center. I started it in the Pride Community Center in 2012, and we worked to get a space, save enough money to have a space, and we do actually have a Pride Center in the middle of Johnson City, Tennessee, in Northeast Tennessee. So, which I think is pretty cool for this area. But we're on here tonight because we want to try and get as many resources for our community as we possibly can.
Thank you so much, John. I think it's really cool too. And I can't wait to come visit Johnson City and see the Pride Center. I'd love to pass it to Knox Pride. Oh, Story, you're on mute.
You'll just miss such an eloquent speech. I'm Story. I'm with Knox Pride. So at Knox Pride, we do have a we have a thrift-tique is what we call it, but it is basically a community clothing closet. So anyone needing gender-affirming clothing can come in. I also have access to binders and other gender-affirming clothing. In addition to just that being available, 6 days a week, we also have youth groups for LGBTQIA plus teens that meet every other Friday. We have a young adult group that meets. We have a trans support group that meets, and our parents have kind of formed their own support group. And I frequently step in as the trans person that they can ask the really dumb questions of, so that they don't have to do that out in the wild. In addition to all that, we also have affirmation days once a quarter typically. We may need to start doing them a little more often, for better or worse, but on those affirmation days, we do have hairstylists, makeup artists, nail techs, we have a speech therapist, and we have mental health professionals that come in, and we just kind of do whatever the trans folks who come in need that day, and they do sign up in advance, and that's been a really great program. I really appreciate being able to be there and like just feel the relief that people like me feel when we're affirmed. I'm also an advocate for my community, and so I do trainings, I do consultation with local organizations and with local businesses, and I can come with you to a school if I need to, if the school is misbehaving and you need someone to come and advocate with you. So that's kind of what we're doing at Knox Pride.
Thank you so much, Story,
Of course.
for doing that. Before we get into the question and answer session, I guess I just want to, recognize that this has been an incredibly tough couple of months, seeing this law being passed and seeing the impact that it's having on our community. But also just recognize that there are so many amazing people in our community that are stepping up. I've had the privilege to meet some of the most amazing parents in the past couple of weeks, some of the most amazing community leaders. And y'all inspire me every day. And I know that we're going to come out on top of this situation. So just thank you all for being here so much. I really appreciate each and every one of you. So with that, I'd love to get into some of the questions that y'all had. Any of our community partners obviously are welcome to hop in on a question. I'm gonna start with some.
I'm sorry.
Go
Before
for it.
before you go, Emma, I'm gonna just go ahead and about to stop our recording. Before I do, is there anything that a partner organization would like to share, or anything that should be a part of this video that we'll post to social? Great. Well, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording. And then just a reminder to press if you are on that this, I'll just stop this first and then say, thanks everyone.